Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. On today's video, we're going to be installing an oil catch can for a 2011 through 2014 Dodge Charger SRT 8. This video will apply to any of the 6.4 HEMI models. So without further delay, let's jump right into it and get this thing done. All right, so before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to my mom and dad. Thank you guys so much for this oil catch can. I cannot wait to put this on the car. So what do we get right out of the box here? So this kit does come with a few evap hoses, along with our actual oil catch can itself. We have the mounting hardware along with the dress-up kit for the hoses. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So let's go ahead and start installing this guy. One thing I do need to say I really like about this RANSOTO kit is it's actually a very affordable price point. You can actually get these guys off Amazon right now for $38.99. You can get it in black and red. Another feature I do really like that a lot of the other oil catch cans do not offer, I do like that there's actually an Allen key here to help you get this cap off, because with this sitting in your engine bay a lot, the heat and stuff makes these stick, and they actually can be quite difficult to get off at times, so I do really like that feature. Alright, I must say this is not a difficult install by any means, and this actually does not require the amount of tools that I have here. You could easily get away with just using a socket and a ratchet and maybe a flathead screwdriver. I do find that some of these tools make this a little bit faster. I do really like these plastic trim tools. These are actually great for removing that plastic clip that's in the engine block there. And also this small little pick is really good for sliding in the PCV hose here in between this connector. And if you just very carefully move it around, you'll be able to separate this much easier than trying to pull on it, especially when you have a car like mine that's been on the road for a few years. These can kind of get a little bit more fused together. They're a little bit more difficult to remove. So anyway, let's get to installing this guy. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and remove this PCV hose here. As I said, I do like to use this small little pick that I got. If you're very, very careful, you can get in between this. Just make sure not to puncture these. That way you can kind of break the connection loose just a little bit. Might help just a little bit with getting that out, just like that, as you can see. Perfect. I might not need to do it on this one if you just twist this. Yep, there we go. Broke that loose. And just like that, that's out. That's the first step out of the way. All right, so the next thing we need to do here, we're actually gonna turn this small PCV hose towards the passenger side of the car. Your new oil catch can is gonna be sitting right here, and this is actually the direction that the hose is gonna be sitting in. So now that we have that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and remove this plastic clip. All right, then now that we have that PCV part of the hose turned this way, we're gonna go ahead and remove this black plastic clip that's holding your wire harness to the engine block. This is really, really simple. It's just a small plastic push pin clip like you'd find in an interior piece. That's why I find that these are really, really easy. You're gonna go ahead and just get this mounted on there, or you can use a flat blade screwdriver. Just be very careful not to break the clip. And if you pull out on this just slightly, ever so slightly, boom, it's out just like that. And now this is our new mounting hole for our new oil catch can. Before we get to installing this guy, just so you guys don't have any confusion, as you saw, I just installed the bolt and the spacer here. So the bolt is actually going to be facing towards the engine block, so that's how this oil catch can is going to sit. You're going to put bolt in first, spacer, and then this is going to bolt right up to the engine block. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now that you've seen how you assemble this, now we can go ahead and put this on the car itself. I'm going to go ahead and get this started here with, by hand, and then I'll go ahead and use my socket. So if you have the RANSOTO kit like I do here, this is a 12mm bolt. So one other really helpful tip for you guys, as you guys are putting this on, I would definitely, as you're doing those final little twists to make sure this is nice and tight, I would keep a little bit of down pressure on here as you pull up on the ratchet. That way this doesn't move, and this is actually what it should look like when you're all said and done. All right, so the next step is super simple. All you have to do is place those inserts that come with your kit, place them inside this connector here, and then this connector up here. I'll make sure to show a quick little clip of that for you, that way you understand what I'm talking about. And now that that's done, we can go ahead and move on to our hoses. All right guys, we're on to the next step of the install here. We're actually going to be measuring and cutting our hoses here to length that we need. We're going to be running the longer hose from this connector here to that one there. We're going to be cutting the shorter hose to length. That way it can fit from this connector here to this connector here. I would go ahead and just use a Sharpie. You can use a razor blade or a set of scissors, just be really careful. Once we're done with that, I'll show you the next step. All right, now that we have the hoses cut down to length, we're moving on to one of our final steps. Now, not all oil catch can kits are gonna have these, because sometimes a lot of the kits actually just have rubber hoses. But just to kind of dress this up a little bit, they included these end pieces, so we're actually gonna add these now. Make sure this flange piece is actually on the end of each hose before you connect it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now, and we'll get these hoses hooked up, and we're gonna be done. Alright guys, and just like that, the brand new oil catch can is in. Now, not only is this thing very aesthetically pleasing, but it's also just so nice to know you don't have all that oil, grime, and grease going back through your beautiful engine. And as you guys saw, it's such an easy modification to do, and with how inexpensive it can be, it's really a no-brainer. Alright guys, well I really hope this tutorial helped you guys out, and if you guys like this kind of video, please consider subscribing. It'll really help me grow my new YouTube channel, and also check me out on TikTok if you have some time, at Crowley Motorsports. We're going to be bringing a lot more 6.4 content to both of those pages, so if you guys like that sort of thing, make sure you stay tuned, because that will be coming. Alrighty guys, well, my name's Robert. Thank you guys so much for watching Crowley Motorsports, and I'll see you guys again on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.